We're live. Welcome
Hello,
back. Hello.
hello everyone. Whoever might be watching, whatever time of day it is. Here it's morning. It's 15 or 14 degrees outside. We've had like a week of minus weathers, and now it's plus positively sultry.
And I had my text prepared here and now it's gone. Let me see if I can retrieve it. Right. Yes, here it is. So today's topic is who are you? Really? Who are you really? And here's a little context. So we condition ourselves from a very young age to act, to behave, to be, ultimately to be a certain way. For whatever reason, we decide that this is how it's acceptable and this is how we need to be. We can't
Well,
be ourselves, we need to be this way for us
let, let's put that into context a
to
little
be
bit.
loved. Huh?
It's different, isn't it? It's different for every person that you come into contact with, actually. So it's not one persona. So for my daughter, I'm the dad. For my son, I'm the father. For you, partner. It's like there is this almost like a seatbelt in a car. You got a button, and it's like adjusts to whoever's trying.
Yeah, it's the different kind of a person you know how to be with us in a certain situation. That's what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but is this the reality of who we really are deep down?
It's a very
or
deep
is it
question.
or is it some kind of a pretense mask that we're hiding behind for fear of
Well, here,
not
yeah.
being accepted or loved, or I don't know.
Are we are we responding to what we believe the expectation of that other person is, and we're just putting on effectively a mask so that person likes us or doesn't like us, or whichever outcome we're looking for in that scenario. It's a tricky question, because here's an even better one: do we really know who we are?
Well, that's the thing. It's a
You
layer
know, do we?
upon layer of figuring things out. And like you said, how do I behave with this person to achieve this desired outcome? And then there's another, it's like a constant computer processing going on in our brain.
And like the not that this is this is a British channel, but at the end of the day, to discover or to understand who you are is a quite a big job. It's not like I can't turn around and say, you say to me, "Who am I?" And I say, "Oh, I'm Chris. I'm this and I'm that," and It's like, well, no, all those things are relative. Like, I'm Chris. Well, hang on a minute. No, I wasn't Chris when I was born, was I? It was just like a thing. I was just like there.
A baby, a
And,
fetus.
yeah, and a spirit in a human form, and then someone gave this baby, this human representation of me, a name.
Well, that
So
was
that
your
isn't who.
parents.
Yeah, that isn't who I am, is it?
Well, yeah, they gave me the name This is Lava for a long time. I didn't like it. So how can you choose such a name for me? It's
You
so
know,
long, I can't say it. It's
or
not
or,
me.
or, course, or people might say, "I'm Chris. I'm a computer programmer." Like, no, but that's my job. That's not who I am. That's my job. And oh, you're my dad. No, that's just, that's just a fact. So like you were, But I like, who am I? Is an incredibly deep question, because in the end, we're only here for a little bit, and that instance, if you like, of the person disappears. So where does it go? Where like, it's a very deep question.
Mm.
And I think in context to where we are here, rather than getting to the spiritual aspects of it, it's more of a question of do we really understand who we are pretending to be, or what mask we're wearing, and have we ever thought about that? And I think that's a really important question, because it may be when you turn around and say, I hate my life, what you're really saying is I don't like who I'm pressured into becoming.
You know,
Or I don't,
I'm tired of being
of trying to put on
present
this act
the
and pretend
act.
I like it.
It's tiring me off. I don't like it anymore. Mm.
Yeah. And I think that's a really interesting question, because, I know quite a few people who basically turned around and said, I don't want to be who these people think I should be anymore. I don't want to be that person. That's curtailing my shirt strings. It's stopping me from becoming all that I could be or want to be, because I keep on, if you like, just acquiescing to what other people expect of me. And
Yeah.
that's a big question. Like, do I want to? Because then people turn around and they can also say, well, if you've got to live with people in harmony with people, and my job is to, if I'm going to be around these people, to please them, or to, it's like, so they fall into this trap, and it is a trap, and yeah, we've all been there. I've done it, all the time, where you do things not because it's your choice, but because you know it'll make other people happy.
Exactly, and it's very difficult for a parent, especially for a mother.
But the statement, I'll do this because I know it'll make them happy. No, you don't. Because you can't know if something else is going to make someone happy or not. All you can say is that it might be pleasant for them for a period of time, but you've sacrificed part of yourself in order to deliver that. So are you now just becoming a puppet for that other person because of the way you think about it?
Yeah, that is exactly what it is. You're becoming dependent.
And if you,
You programming yourself to be, like you say, a puppet. I don't like that word because it triggers me, big time. So
yeah, but
if
it's like,
for
in
me,
reality,
for, for, for me, a puppet is a horrible thing. If I were to be a puppet, I just wouldn't want to carry on living like that.
so
This really triggers me big time.
there's the incentive to really get to the bottom of it then and decide for yourself what that means. Because without that energy, without that desire to not be that, and that reluctance to be considered, that is enough of a shove to then take that question on and deal with it. I think that's a real.
Well, for me, it means a lot of things. It means I have my will. I don't have a will of my own. I don't have any strength in my body to do what I want. I haven't got any freedom to move how I want. And I'm restrained and tied up. And it's just all to do with freedom, I guess. Because one of my things is I want to be free. I had enough of being told what to do. And puppet, oh gosh, it triggers me big time still.
Yeah, so it's we all get succumbed into doing things, but the question is, have you got the ability to say no? Have you got the chance to say no to that, or are you just being dragged along? And it's like, it's not really a choice. Because so if you want to make someone happy, you can't make them happy, but you can bring some pleasant things to some people. The question is it a choice? Are you having to do it? Is it not really a choice? Is it,
But
and I
then
think that,
also, if it's a choice, what kind of Well, why is it a choice? Why do you choose that? Is it for a certain payoff, or are you choosing it just because you love that person?
I mean, like as a mother, the unconditional love, right? It's easy. It's very, very easy to get sucked into the diatribe, right, of
Mm.
unconditional love. You have to do it because you're a mother, and that's what's expected of a mother. But isn't what's expected of a mother and a father, for that matter, the the not education, but the experience for the child or whatever, to basically become self-reliant, not self-reliant, but exist in harmony with everything around, so that that person has a happy life. Really, at the end of the day, I guess that's what we'd want for everyone. We want them to be able to exist, function, and and be able to be part of a community and enjoy their lives. That's I think as a parent, that's what we'd really want. We wouldn't want we wouldn't want them to depend on us to such a point that if we disappeared, then it's all gone horribly wrong.
It's true because if you think about animals, and I used to think in a certain way when I was watching, when I was younger, and I watched documentaries about these, say, birds fledging, or bears having cubs. At one point, all of these parents let the little youngsters do their thing, either fledge, do their first jump off the nest, and then either manage to fly or not. And bears, chasing their cubs so that they can be now by themselves, or lions, or I don't know, all of these animals, the mothers. And I thought, how can these animals do that? Don't they have any feelings for their little ones? They're gonna die, or they're gonna have trouble, they're gonna struggle. Why can't they stay a bit longer together? Why? How can they do this? It's so hard and harsh and difficult. Yeah, as a parent, we seem to have too many emotions attached to it.
Well, no, I think it's expectations. It's not emotions. It's like the
But it was
emotion.
an emotion for me. It was like, oh, my heart doesn't give it. It's just my heart won't allow this. It's hard. It's attachment.
Yeah, and ultimately, if we're attached, and I think it's a whole new subject is on attachment. We can know that, but attachment, it's like ultimately everything goes. And the more we're attached to it, the harder it is. We almost, and this is part of the who am I? I mean, like, who am I? I'm a temporary visitor to this world. What's the point in building up this massive attachment to anything when it finishes? It does
Mm,
finish.
yeah.
And like, children's the same, like ultimately, I had grandparents, they died, I had parents, they died, I'm a parent, I'm gonna die. It's like there's no point in arguing with it. It's a fact. It's just a time that comes at some point. And I think we have to kind of recognize this. And I think this is why older people, they tend to, people look at them and they go, oh, there's no energy. They kind of acquiesce to the fact that, time's running out. I don't think you have to have that attitude. It's not like it's running out. It's like it's you know the period of being this energy in this body is coming to an end, but that's not necessarily finished, is it? But who are we? It's the ultimate question, because it goes incredibly deep, and I think there's a lot of people running around not really living their own lives, living lives based on what they think is expected of them, and that's not
Hmm.
really them, is it? That's not really them. That's them. That's almost like being in a film and playing different parts.
Yeah, having a mask.
Yeah,
Well, I'm going to be now a mother. I'm going to be now a teacher. Now I'm going to be the pillar of society. Now I'm going to be a shopping person. I'm going to do shopping, and this is what we do when we're shopping. We can't do our own thing.
and
Well, what is our own thing? We don't even know anymore.
That's the point, isn't it? It's like, what, when we covered this, you know, what is it you love doing? And is it, you know, I saw the Dalai Lama. It wasn't a one-to-one or anything. I was in an audience of quite a few people, but he was talking about what's selfish. And there are two types of selfish. There's selfish where you want to have everything, all these material possessions, and grab loads of money and be rich and be better than others. That's bad selfish. That's a terrible type of selfish, because you're essentially saying, I want more of everything than anybody else. And it's like, who gave anybody the right to that? So that's a sort of bad selfish. And then there's a good selfish, which is like looking after yourself looking after yourself to make sure you are, if you like, you're happy and content. Because without that, how can you ever focus on anybody else? If your happiness is being compromised, then all you're going to do is compromise other people, because you're just going to infect them with your lack of happiness, right? So, and that's a good thing, is to concentrate on self-love, if you like, but not self-love in oh, aren't I amazing, you know, put my picture everywhere and look, everyone idolize me. That's not the kind of talking about. I'm talking about self-love in terms of being happy with where you are and what you're doing and what you're up to, such that you can maybe, people can see that by example. I say, what's going on over there? Why? How come that person's so content and happy with what's going on for them, and I'm in such a mess? that's the right kind of.
That's the kind of question that's started me on my changing of my life a while ago, when I was going through a terrible change in a life circumstance situation, and I was in such a miserable state, and I'm looking around, and turns out almost everybody who I was surrounded by had previously had such an experience, and they were doing great, and there was me in a total mess. And that was my question: how come I am so bad here, feeling like I want to die, and they're all flourishing? How come? What do they do? What do I do? How do I get myself out of it? Because it's obviously possible.
No, you know, that's another question, isn't it? And time is a great healer. It's like things become less raw, and you slowly chip away at the ice block and gradually take down the difficult.
I have a bit of a different view on time is a good healer. Maybe we can have another video on that one. Yeah, but for now, who are you? So I had to revisit who I was. And I had all these beliefs about myself, like I'm not worthy, I'm not this, I'm not that, and I had to change all of this. And interestingly, when I did, I wasn't in that kind of mess anymore. The different mess revealed.
Well, I mean, you know, your scenario, and of course that leads on to other stages that you've been through and are going through. But when you turn around and say, that idea of myself, which was foisted upon me by others, has now been taken away by others.
Yeah.
So not only were you basing it on other people's viewpoint,
other people said I needed to do it this way, and now it's taken away. Well, you told me how to do it, and now I did it, and now it's not working. How come?
and you know, that's out of your control. Well, yeah, what control we have is over ourselves only, and we don't even have complete control over that, but we do have some control over that. And in my belief, and when you're living a life which is based on what other people think of you, and then they think about they change their opinion and destroy what they originally suggested was the best thing for you, and now suddenly You were given something which wasn't yours. Now you're going to take it away, which you've got used to, and it's like you're in a mess of both situations. And it's like, you were pushed into that space, so it wasn't really an option, which is why it was probably more difficult. But if you can avoid that, but it's very difficult to avoid it because you've got kids, I've got kids. It kind of they're dragged along with society and how society thinks we should be, and it's very rare that you get someone that says, "Hang on a minute, I got a choice on this. I've got choice." It's like it's just, oh, that's how it's done, and the choice seems to not be there, but it is there. But it's not an
The
easy
choice
thing.
seems to be there, and it's always there. But then you decide to go and choose a different thing, and the whole world goes on top of you. And so, how dare you change? How dare you choose this choice? What happened to you? You are now, and you're given another label. You are selfish. You are irresponsible. You are confused. You are gullible. You are whatever. You fill the
Yeah, and I mean,
blank.
this is a really good, easy way to see something. When someone says to you, "No, I don't like the person you've become because you've changed," what they're really saying is, "My life's changed because you're
Because
being
of you.
different, and I don't like the fact that this change is making me do something that I don't like now." And that's what it really comes down to, doesn't it? It comes down to your change has impacted somebody else and they're not happy about it. And that's why they get angry about you changing, because their life's being changed and they haven't decided to change it. That's because they base their life on you being this masked person who's complying to their wishes, and now you stop doing it. And that's quite yeah, that's not easy for people to manage, especially if they haven't done the thinking like we're talking about here. This is quite deep. This thinking is quite, it can affect, it affects everything. Like this, who are you? Is like the massive question.
And it
And
seems to be very scary as well. Not many people think about that. And I would encourage you to do that thinking, because and it might get a bit scary. I still think about it, and it still sometimes triggers me, and I feel a bit confused. Whether I'm doing the right thing, the right choice, is this what really I
right,
want?
according to
Who
who?
is it that wants it? But the litmus test is, are you happier with the way you are? And if you're not, then that's not your soul talking. You need to see what the real message is. And if you're happy, then you're on the right track. Like happy inside, like deep down.
I mean, this
You
is a
might have the surface kind of struggles and confusion, and but if deep inside you know that this is the right thing to do, despite all the obstacles in the way, go for it.
yeah. And another question for another day is, how do you when do you give up? Like at the like this is a $1 million question. People run into it in business all the time. Is like you're bashing away, you believe in what you're doing, but at some point it doesn't seem to be working. But what is that point?
Mm-hmm.
Where is that point? It happens in it doesn't. It's not. It doesn't have to be work. It could be anything. But you're going to face struggles. You're going to face difficulties. There's no question about that. And you need to sometimes put your head above the parapet and say, am I on the right track here? Do I believe in? Is this leading me in the right direction to where I want to go? Have I got to change a few things and then patch them up with something else? And there's always these things going on. But the question is, this is life, by the way. This is what we call a life, where things happen and things are going well. It's like it's life. It's like
It's finding the small difference, the being able to distinguish between, oh, I'm struggling here because my soul doesn't like it, or I'm struggling here because it's difficult to change to a new life that actually makes me happier? Which one is the struggle? Is it the struggle, internal struggle, or is it an internal one that will need a little more effort, and then it will be, well, I don't know whether it's going to be easier afterwards, because it's life, as you say, we don't know what's going to be around the next corner.
Enjoy it anyway. It's like good or
But if
bad.
we're enjoying it, yes, what's the point in being miserable? If it makes you happy, go for it.
That's it. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, I hope you had some good inspiration from what we were talking about. And as always, we would like to hear comments.
All I think you can do is if people can maybe reflect on things. That's all it is. It's just a reflection. No right or wrong here. It's just maybe a different way of looking at something to the previous. And if it's helped, it's helped. If it hasn't, then maybe another one.
Yeah, so we're going to be live on Wednesday again, and see you then.
Okay, bye.
Bye.